Hi everyone, welcome to Luis Cisneros YouTube channel. Today's Polymer Clay tutorial is about how to make your face in Polymer Clay. And this is just an example how you can use your face on Polymer Clay. This is a postcard that I designed for a project called Face to Face that the university that I'm starting asked to the first year students to introduce themselves to the community by designing a postcard. Since I'm a sculptor installation program, I decided to create this 3D postcard. Anyways, let's start with this tutorial. The first thing that you're gonna need is a proportional chart or a picture of your face. I created 3 different drawings so it shows different things. So you're gonna do the same with your picture or with the drawings. The first one is gonna have the angles that the face has, and that way you know the 3D effect. The second one is gonna be the proportions between the eyes and the mouth and the entire face. And the third one is just to know the shape of the face. Then we're gonna use some sculpting tools. Let me just move this first and get out of the way. And these are the sculpting tools that we need. Then we need color pencils. This is just for the details of the face. These are the colors. Living Doll, Sculpt P. This is my preferred for the face, and Female colors for the eyes. A piece of baking paper, or it can be a plastic bag that is translucent or clear so we can see the proportional chart. This is so in that way you don't damage your proportional chart or your picture, and you can put clay on the top. We're gonna start with the eyes, and we create 2 spheres with white clay. We're gonna create the eyeball by putting the sphere on the top of the proportional chart, and then we're going to press down, creating the half sphere. Just make sure that the 2 of them they follow the proportional chart, since we want them to be identical. Then using the middle size stylus ballpoint pen, we create a mark right in the middle. Then you bake them and let them cool down and compare them to the proportional chart to make sure that they are the correct size. Then we use black clay to create the edge of the iris. Using the small stylus, we press down against our eyeball that we created, and we fill it up the mark that we left. We do the same in the other eyeball. Then after I bake them again, I use brown clay to create the inside of the iris. I fill it up the dip that I created before with the brown clay, since my eyes are brown, and then I use the small stylus just to create another dip. Make sure that the 2 of them are equal. Then using the needle tool, I start creating the texture of the iris. I do the same in the other eye. I rotate the eyeball and I go from the center to the outside. Then I bake again, and while it's cooled down, I create the pupil that in this case is going to be represented with black clay. I measure it against the proportional chart, and then I put it right in the center. Do the same in the other eye. While they're baking, we're going to start with our face using the Living Doll clay, and we follow the proportional chart, filling it up the drawing. In this case also you can use the photograph just to follow the shape of your face. This is where you use the plastic bag or also the baking papers, and that way you don't affect the picture or the proportional chart. Just make sure that you follow the shape of your face. Then we're going to transfer the lines that we have in the proportional chart to our clay. We create the vertical line in the middle of the face, dividing our face into 2. Then we move to horizontal lines, starting with the hairline, then the eyebrow line, the 2 eye lines, the nostrils, the end of the nose, the upper lip, lower lip, and the chin. And then we create the vertical lines of the edge of our nose. After you trace them, you can make them longer and bigger so you cannot lose them. Then we trace the space between the eyes that is the same as the nose, the same size as our eyeball. We make it larger the eye lines, and that way we know where we can put our eyes. Then we're going to insert the eyeballs where we put the marks for, Just make sure that they're pointing to one direction and that they look that they're aligned. Then we're going to create our eyelids, and for this we're going to need 4 spheres. We create the shape of our eyelid and then we put it on the top. When you create the upper lid, just make sure that you cover a little bit of the iris, since this is how it looks in real life. Then we do the bottom one. Then, following the proportional chart of the picture, make sure that you have the shape of your eye. Using the needle tool, you're going to blend the eyelid into the face. You can also use a small ball point stylus to help you blend. Then we do exactly the same on the other side. We're going to start creating the front bone cheek, and for this we create an arc upside down, and then we start integrating with our small ball point stylus. On the other side we create exactly the same, and this is how you always do. You always put one part on one side and one part on the other side, so you always create 2 pairs of everything. Then we add the chin. Using as the reference your picture of the proportional chart, we create the shape of the chin and then we start blending it into the face. Then I'm gonna start using specific characteristics of the face. So in this case, I follow the proportional chart, the drawing or the picture, just to see what a unique characteristics my face has. In your case, it will be yours. And then I start adding these. In this case, as you can see, I start adding the muscles that are there under the mouth. Then I'm gonna start adding the lips, and for this I measure comparing to the proportional chart of the picture, and you start adding up pieces of clay. You add clay just to fill up the gap, and then you can add on the top the lip. Then with another piece of clay, I convert to the proportional chart just to create the upper lip part. Then we're gonna add the cheeks. We add a little bit more just to blend between the cheekbones and the cheeks. And then we're gonna add a triangle that is gonna be the nose. Then for the nose, I created just the inside part first, and then I add 2 spheres on the sides just to create the nostrils. Then I compare it to the proportional chart, and then I create a tier that is going to be on one nostril on one side and then on the other one. The tiers are just beside it so we can create the nose. Then I start blending the pieces. Just as a reminder, I have other videos that I show more specific parts of the face. If you want to watch them, just click right above in the top corner, and that's the link where I will show you where these videos are, and they are specific for the nose, the mouth, the eyes, different parts of the face. Just make sure when you're blending to not leave any gaps, since when you're gonna be baking, these can show even more, or if it doesn't blend, sometimes it creates lines. Also, using the stylus helps me shape the nose and also create the nostrils, and not just blend but also sculpt the face. I also started sculpting the mouth and the upper lip, and then I blend the lower lip with the stylus. I try to smooth the lines from the stylus with my fingers, and that way it blends even more. And as you notice, I start blending even more on one side and then I move to the other one. Then after you finish the two sides, we're gonna start creating where the eyebrows are going to be. So we have bone on the top, and we're gonna create that following the proportional chart of the picture. Then we're gonna create two spheres that are gonna make for the temple that is on the sides of the forehead. And as you can see in the proportional chart, they are like a long triangle that are there go on the side. Then the forehead I divided in three pieces that is gonna be one long part that you can see in the proportional chart how I have that angle, and then is the front forehead, and then another long part beside the triangle that is the temple. Really carefully I start blending with my stylus. I smooth the marks with my fingers. Now we're gonna add the bridge and the root of the nose, that is that part that you have between the eyes. And we are gonna add more clay, so that way we create that part of the face. We blend with the fingers and with the stylus. And then on the other side we do exactly the same. Just make sure when you're blending you don't leave any marks of the stylus. Now that the face took shape, this is where you have to pay attention to details. As an example, the nose for me, it needs more lateral cartilage, so I'm adding more clay. I use the stylus just to blend and reshape the nose until it is the closest as possible to the proportional chart or to the picture. Using the needle tool and the stylus, I reshape the nose, the nostrils, the mouth, and the chin. Now I add the eyebrows. And with the help of the stylus and with the needle tool, I shape them and blend them. Then when you finish blending and you don't have any mark of any of your tools, you can bake. After it cools down, then we start drawing the eyelashes and the eyebrows. I use a black color pencil to draw it on the clay. Just make sure that it's really cool, because if not, it's not gonna work out. And I start drawing just on the top. I use the brown color pencil just to exaggerate the expressions of the face and just the lines that we have in the face, under the lips too, the chin, the nose. For the lips, I use a darker pink color for the upper lip and then a lighter one for the lower lip. For the postcard, what I did is just using an illustration board. I cut it and I created the different layers. I used color pencil and I built up the layers until I use the polymer clay face. And that's the final. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you want me to continue doing videos like these. And don't forget to watch the other videos where I go more into the depth.